Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the GLP Support Squad. We are so grateful you are here, so happy you are here, and we are so blessed that you are joining us on this journey of our peptides. The peptides. I am here. I'm Kara Mars. I'm so happy to be here. I'm here with Kris, author and international energy healer, and Alyssa from Shore Holistic Nutrition and Wellness. We are the squad, but so are you. Welcome. Today, we're going to talk about some various things. Basically, food and basically being a loser, right? We don't want to be a loser. So we wanted to talk about, do we really want to be a loser? Is that the right thing that we want? We've been programmed so long to be losers. And I just don't want to be a loser anymore. It's not my thing. Just not. And also, but like both, most importantly, though, the mindset, we're on this journey, and some of us who are coming from larger numbers, like I'm definitely coming from a larger number. We've been dieting since we were, 5, 6 years old. And it's like, yes, these peptides are miraculous to have the food chatter even gone for 4 days, right? And to have the ability to not constantly think about food and not emotionally eating and not stress eating. And I know we're not allowed to say it, but Mercury's kind of in retrograde right now, if you believe in that kind of stuff. I know some of us do not. Alyssa, but some of us do, right? And we're just sitting there watching the boom, 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 and we don't have that reaction that we've always done by soothing ourselves with food. And I don't mean just like cucumbers. I mean the ultra processed crap that changes the dopamine in our brain and just makes us want more and want more and want more. And that's not good. So we have some time, right? This journey is going to take a long time. We have a time to reprogram our brain to not go for that anymore. And it's been interesting experiencing Mercury in retrograde and not having that drug, right? Ultra processed, you can't even really call it food. It's just chemicals. It's stuff that just like changes your brain. And but you don't have that drug to like soothe you and comfort you. And I actually watched myself binging on a salad. Not kidding, like shoveling it in, sitting at my desk, shoveling it in. And I'm like, you are binging on a salad. I'm like, I don't care. Shut up. Right. And it's like, but I'm acknowledging it. I'm aware. And thank you, peptides. Thank you, GLP-1 and GIP for not making me go grab that ultra processed food, for allowing me to grab the salad. So now we just have to work on what are we going to do to like not grab food, right? And not grab alcohol and not go online shopping and not running to the casino, right? What are we going to do? This addictive personality that I have, and probably some of you have, right? I did watch a podcast the other day or on YouTube where they're saying that the GLPs, they're finding that people with these addictions are not having as much. Like, I love going to the casino. I call it my ATM. I go to the casino, I get my $2,000 and I leave and I'm happy, whatever. So yeah, it's a dopamine rush too, because who doesn't love $2,000? But to me, it's like a whole thing, but it's definitely an addiction. I haven't gone at all since I started these peptides. So what, mid April, and it's now the end of August or mid August, end of August. Oh my gosh, it's going so fast. People, it's going fast. So, so this is interesting. So what are we going to do instead? So what happens when we don't have these peptides anymore? How are we going to keep ourselves at our right size bodies? So we've got the time, we've got the place, and you are here and we are here, and let's go. So first we're going to talk about, I'm going to actually turn this over to Kris. And Kris is going to do some tapping because we love tapping. And then after Kris, then we'll go to Alyssa, and she's going to talk about some fun things, some food, glorious food. Okay, Kris, take it away.
So I have been thinking a lot about the word lose because for as far as I can remember, being put on my first diet when I was 7 years old, and also even prior to that, listening to my parents constantly talking about weight. It was always about losing weight. And I have a 25-year background in having the understanding of the power of the subconscious mind and the power of languaging to create. And the word loss, when it's taken away from weight, is usually something that has a negative connotation. So if you lose money, that's not a good thing. If you lose something that you need and you're trying to find it, that's not a positive thing. Losing your keys, right? Or losing your umbrella, right? That's a negative connotation. And so inherent within loss is the feeling of wanting to get something back. And yet those of us who have been lifelong dieters like Karen and myself have realized that we don't want to get this back. We want this to be the time that it actually really, really works. And so I find myself cringing when I'm talking to my personal trainer, when I'm talking to my doctor, and they're talking about losing weight. And so I have been very instrumental in changing my languaging around all of this. And I have been using things like shedding weight. Shedding is something that's easy, right? It just happens. Surrendering the weight, letting go of the weight, releasing the weight, clearing the weight, minimizing the weight. So these are all different words that we can substitute and use instead when we're talking about ourselves and when we're talking within our community of other people here. And Kara, you said it also, which was a really important thing, was about being a loser. Okay. Being a loser. Again, a very negative connotation. And maybe a word that's been used against those of us who've had weight issues, right? Maybe we've been called that by other people. Maybe we've been teased in school and been called a loser, or it's come up in dating, or it's come up in work relationships. So, we don't want to be losers, just like we don't want to be survivors. We want to be thrivers, right? Surviving is just getting through. Thriving is flourishing in a healing journey that you've been through. And so I thought that we could do some tapping on letting go of the word lose and all of the connotations with it, and tapping in some of these other words. And also, listen, there's something else besides the ones that I've suggested. Feel free to substitute in something else that works for you. But I would like to sort of reclaim this journey and to stop calling it a weight loss journey, right? I don't know about you. I don't want financial loss. I don't want loss within my life loss is also associated with grief. So think about it that way. So these are all really connotations that we don't want to have for this. We want to actually embrace it. And then I thought we could tap on some affirmations about self-love and self-acceptance, because many of you out there have probably tried really, really hard to beat yourself up into being better. And that's for people on a weight journey, and that's for everyone else too, right? I am like this. I don't want to be like this. I want to be like this. And I'm going to white knuckle it and beat myself up and demand that I get out there, and I'm going to bully myself into change. And what I want to say to you is no one has ever beat themselves up into a better life. I have worked with clients that have been professional athletes and have ignored the signals of their body and pounded themselves beyond recognition, and it has had some very serious consequences for them. So loving ourselves through the change is what we want to do, because the parts of us that are binging, right, is the part of us that's needing love. The part of us that feels overwhelmed is the part of us that needs love. The part of us that's trying to self-soothe are parts of ourselves that need love and acceptance. And so many of us have been shamed, and we've internalized that shame and used it against ourselves. We've become our own bullies, we've become our own abusers. And so I'm going to not just be speaking about that now, but this is something I'm going to return to again and again. about tapping in some real self-love and self-acceptance for every place we've been on this journey and where we're going so that we can accept our way through it. So how does that sound to you guys?
I think it sounds amazing. And it's interesting that you're bringing up topics that I didn't even think about. Like you're right, when I'm shoving that salad into my food, if someone could have just given me a hug, right? That, like, maybe I just needed a hug, but my independent self would never allow that, and I certainly would never ask for one, right? Could someone just give me a hug, right? So it's just so easy just to sit in your office and just shovel it in, right? Yeah.
Yeah, food is something that's very easy and for those of us in the United States, readily available at our fingertips every single where that we look. Okay. I remember being online at Staples and they had like candy and chips. And I was like, really? When I'm getting my office supplies, even here too, they're trying to be like, oh, you must be famished picking up all that paper. Don't you need a Snickers bar? I mean, it's literally everywhere, and you go to other places and it's not like that. So it's the thing that's readily available. And,
And also, well, you can't see, here we go. My phone, right? It's anywhere. You can literally hit an app and you can have food here in 20 minutes. And it's hard to get the healthy food here in 20 minutes too, right? So yeah.
absolutely true. It's
Yeah.
absolutely true. So, yeah, so we're going to be, as we move through this, really loving ourselves and being kind to our bodies and loving the changes that we are going through. People out there who are already, have already shed some weight may have found, wow, I'm feeling a little more tender, or I'm feeling a little more anxious, or I'm feeling a little more self-conscious, and I thought it was going to be the reverse of what I'm feeling. But that makes a lot of sense because we are changing inside as our outside is changing as well. So, all right. So to remind everybody, we're going to start on the side of the hand, this fleshy part. Okay, I use my dominant hand to tap on my non-dominant hand. I'm going to hold it up so you can see it, to see what we're doing. And you're going to repeat after me. Carrie, you're going to be my echo voice.
Perfect.
Okay. So even though I have always wanted to be a loser,
Even though I've always wanted to be a loser,
at least when it comes to losing weight,
at least when it comes to losing weight,
I am recognizing
I am recognizing
the incredible power of language,
the incredible power of language.
and I'd like to change the way I'm speaking about all of this.
And I'd like to change the way I'm speaking about all of this.
Even though I have felt like a loser,
Even though I have felt like a loser,
and that's not the kind of loss that I've been looking for.
and it's not the kind of loss that I've been looking for.
I'm getting tired
I'm getting tired
of calling this a weight loss journey
of calling this a weight loss journey
because I don't want to find the weight again.
because I don't want to find the weight again.
So for just right now,
So for just right now,
I'm open to changing my languaging around this journey.
I'm open to changing my languaging around this journey.
Even though everyone calls this a weight loss drug,
Even though everyone calls this a weight loss drug,
and people are asking me how much weight I'm losing,
and people are asking me how much weight I'm losing,
and my doctor wants to know how much weight I'm losing,
and my doctor wants to know how much weight I'm losing,
I'm getting clearer and clearer
I'm getting clearer and clearer
about the power of language.
about the power of language.
And loss has a really negative connotation.
And loss has a really negative connotation.
So for just right now,
So for just right now,
I'd like to change the way that I'm speaking about this journey
I'd like to change the way I'm speaking about this journey
because I would like the weight to clear for good.
because I would like the weight to clear for good.
I don't need to find it again.
I don't need to find it again.
I don't want to find it again.
I don't want to find it again.
I want to be free.
I want to be free.
Let's come up to the beginning of the eyebrows. Weight loss.
Weight loss.
Side of the eye. I have to lose the weight.
I have to lose the weight.
Being asked, how much weight did you lose?
Being asked, how much weight did you lose?
Being called a loser.
Being called a loser.
All the times I've felt like a loser.
All the times I've felt like a loser.
The word lose.
The word lose.
The word loss.
The word loss.
And all the negative connotations that they have.
And all the negative connotations that they have.
I don't want my healing journey
I don't want my healing journey
to be associated with that word.
to be associated with that word.
I'm ready to kick lose to the curb.
I'm ready to kick lose to the curb.
I am releasing excess weight.
I am releasing excess weight.
I am shedding what no longer serves me.
I am shedding what no longer serves me.
My weight is coming into harmonious balance.
My weight is coming into harmonious balance.
My body weight
My body weight
is the perfect reflection
is the perfect reflection
of having balanced energy
of having balanced energy
and a healthy body.
and a healthy body.
My body knows how to clear the excess
My body knows how to clear the excess
and come back into balance.
and to come back into balance.
I surrender and let go
I surrender and let go
of what no longer serves me,
of what no longer serves me,
including excess body weight.
including excess body weight.
My body is coming into harmonious balance,
My body is coming into harmonious balance,
and my body is incredibly intelligent.
and my body is incredibly intelligent.
It has been designed to self heal,
It has been designed to self heal,
and I am sending affirmative messages
and I am sending affirmative messages
to my brilliant body
to my brilliant body
to come back into balance now.
to come into balance now.
I easily release the excess weight.
I easily release the excess weight.
I easily shed the excess weight.
I easily shed the excess weight.
The excess weight is clearing from my body.
The excess weight is clearing from my body.
This GLP-1
This GLP-1
is serving my body
is serving my body
and helping it come back into balance.
and helping it come back into balance.
All of my cells
All of my cells
remember my ideal body weight.
remember my ideal body weight.
The blueprints are all right here.
The blueprints are all right here.
And with ease and grace,
And with ease and grace,
I am letting go.
I am letting go
I'm surrendering.
and surrendering.
I am shedding,
I am shedding,
releasing, and clearing
releasing, and clearing
the excess body weight
excess body weight
right here and right now.
right here and right now.
And it's absolutely safe
And it's absolutely safe
for me to do so.
for me to do so.
And that's the truth.
And that's the truth.
Okay, everybody, let's take a couple of nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. So I'm going to encourage everyone to work on changing your languaging around all of this and see what feels good and resonates well with your body and your body chemistry.
Wow, Kris. Wow. Again. I didn't even I tapped last night and I tapped today on overwhelm and I was like, oh, this isn't going to affect me. Within what, 2 minutes, I'm yawning away. So when you see us yawning, just know that that's not because we're tired and bored. It's because, although it could be for you, but for us, it's we're releasing. No, I'm just kidding. We're releasing this stored up energy that needs to go and what we're talking. And so when you see us, and I love it when we're in sync and we're yawning at the same time, that's very funny. So it's great. So thank you, Kris. This is amazing. And next, so Alyssa, we're releasing all of this loss, right? So we no longer are losers. So that was great. So what else do we need to release, Alyssa? Help us here.
Yeah, so today I want to talk a little bit about like food and what we're putting into our bodies. So, and I think I talked about this a little bit on last week's episode, but I hear so many people say like, "Oh, I'm scared like when I stop taking it, like I'm going to gain weight back," things like this. But if we're not addressing our diet and what we're putting into our body, yeah, it most likely will come back because if you're eating ultra processed foods while you could still lose weight and eat ultra processed foods, but once you stop, right? Once you stop taking the GLP-1 or, peptides, whatever you're taking, and you go back to the same habits you were doing before, then yeah, most likely you're going to gain weight back. So it's about really, while you're taking the peptides, really hone in on your habits, right? Like what you're putting into your body, because guess what? That is the fuel that's going to feed your cells and help you with your health. So, people are taking these to like get their health into control. Maybe you have diabetes, maybe you are very overweight, it's affecting your joints and all of these things. So, we need to help feed ourselves with the right food, the right nutrients. And that's not coming from ultra processed foods that you see at the supermarket. I see, I'm in some of these groups and I see people, you know, promoting these like, protein shakes and all of these like really bad ingredients. So the first thing I would encourage you to do is look at the ingredients of what you're putting into your body. If you can't pronounce the word, then like that's a chemical, right? And I see some of these ingredient lists of things and it's like this long, like that like that is not food. That is a food like substance, right? So run another recommendation I would make is to start shopping on the perimeter of the supermarket, right? You think about like the produce is on one side, then you have like your butcher, your meats on the other side. So just start shopping there. The middle of the aisles are all processed foods. And people say, well, food is so expensive and this and that. But honestly, like processed food is so expensive. And especially if you're trying to eat more like organic processed food or more healthier, options, those are even more expensive. So I always say you're better off, eat basic. It doesn't need to be like a crazy extravagant meals that you're making. And get a meat, get some vegetables, get some fats like avocado or cheese, healthy fats. And just like look at what you're consuming. Also, another thing is, if you have children, right? We like develop our habit, we give our habits to our children. And we see this a lot, with women or men who are overweight, and then their child starts to get that way. But if you have certain eating habits, your child is going to start developing those, right? If you're eating like fast food and you're going there a lot, your child is going to start developing the same habits. So it's, if you have children, it's so important that you help yourself, which in turn will help your child as well, because these food is really really affecting our children. I talk like a lot about children, and I have my own podcast and Instagram, so you can go check that out. But it starts with us, and we really our habits, and this will trickle out into our children and then for future generations as well. So, some of the things that I recommend to, my patients is really to stay away from seed oils. So seed oils are canola oil, safflower oil, vegetable oil, like vegetables. I don't know why it's called vegetable oil. It is not made from vegetables. These are industrial chemicals. Like literally, I've seen pictures of them being made in like these industrial like labs. It looks like gasoline tanks. Like they're held in. So really staying away from the seed oils and just trying to incorporate healthier oils such like olive oil, avocado oil is really good. Lard. I actually cook a lot with lard. I don't know, this group sometimes is a little bit more vegetarian, but um but even lard is much healthier for you. It's more natural than you're going to use for canola oil or, soybean oil. Like these oils are so bad for our health and, heart health and all of these things, cholesterol.
And Alyssa, it's interesting because like I try and follow the rule 5 ingredients or less kind of thing. So 5 ingredients or less. And so many of the healthy foods, right? The healthy organic foods have the seed oil. And I'm like, no, 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 why? So it's frustrating because they've got it mostly, right? The Simply Nature organic. And then it's like, why did you have to put ingredient number 3, a seed oil? Come on. Mm-hmm. So yeah. And it's interesting that 80% of the grocery store is ultra processed, right? 80%. And it's also not our fault that, when for those of us who are in this situation and we're at the very high numbers, it's coming at us like everywhere you go. You can't get away from food, ultra processed food. It's everywhere, commercials, and they do research. These companies do the research. How can we make this food more addictive, right? And they're actually afraid of the GLP-1s. They're afraid of these because if we're eating 7,000 calories less a week, that means we're spending less money on their made ultra processed foods. So you're going to see even more kickback with the food manufacturers. And I've learned a lot from Alyssa. Alyssa, remember? So I used to like do my coffee every morning. I'd take my little Keurig cup and I'd put it in my little Keurig machine and I'd have my coffee. And she made me stop using Keurig. And I was like, oh, come on, Alyssa. It's organic Keurig. It's okay. It's organic. She's like, no. And this is why. Tell them why, Alyssa. Or do you want me to tell them? Do you want me to tell them?
You can tell them, yeah.
Okay, so you take the plastic, right? You take the plastic cup, which is bad, and they're doing more and more research that almost everybody has a certain number of plastic in their body. And then but then you take the foil, right? The foil, the aluminum foil. Aluminum is one of the top causes of, or one of the top things for Alzheimer's, right? Aluminum. I'm so paranoid on, well, it's not going to happen because I'm good. But anyway, then the coffee in the United States, our coffee is like the lowest grade possible. So we have the lowest grade coffee, and then the majority of it has mold. So she's like, why would you pour hot coffee into aluminum that goes into moldy, really bad coffee that finishes up in plastic? And I was like, well, now you've ruined my coffee, Alyssa. So I've actually got rid of my Keurig. So now I have one of those things from Costa Rica. It looks like a sock. And I put the organic, I grind the coffee, put it in my sock, and it's much more delicious, and it's just as easy as the Keurig, right? But it's the little things that are, what's happening is our mitochondria is getting all messed up, right? And that's what's happening because of what's going into our body. We can't change the air pollution. We can't change the pesticides. I mean, we can start a movement and try, but we can't. And that is affecting and it affects some of us more than others, right? And especially those of us coming from large numbers. Look at that. You're like, I don't really eat that much. Well, maybe your mitochondria is all messed up because you are more susceptible to the pesticides and the air pollution and the contrail, whatever. So even if we just do little baby steps, like for this month, I'm not going to do any Keurig, right? Or this month, I'm only going to shop the perimeter of the grocery store, or for this week or for this day, we take little baby steps and just know it's not our fault. Do not shame yourself or blame yourself. This has been going on since I think the beginning. I think it started in 1973-ish when corn started, when what's it called? The partially hydrogenated corn, right? Oh. Mm-hmm. And then, that's when it really started. And also when the tobacco companies bought the food companies. And remember, like the size of a pack of cigarettes is the same as a juice box. They know that the brain likes that. They know that it's comfortable. So there's a lot of things that just weren't our fault. So how do we learn? And to learn this is hard because you've got very, very powerful food companies saying, no, they're just woo woo. They don't know what they're talking about, until you make these changes and feel it in your body and go, wow, Alyssa was right. Alyssa was right. Okay. So and you know how often do I push back on you, Alyssa? All the time, right? And then I do what you say. I'm like, Alyssa was right. And it's and I love that you have the medical background and the holistic. You know, it's nice to see both worlds, because you really get it. You get it. So thank you for that. But you've never had a weight issue, other than you were underweight at one point because of the chemicals and pesticides and shots and whatnot.
Yeah. So two things also I want to bring up is that actually these toxins are stored in our fat cells. So as we are shedding the weight, and this goes back to like the supplement protocol that I put together for people who are taking these the peptides or GLP-1, because your body is releasing toxins as you are shedding weight. And it's really important that you take a binder and I talked about this also, I think, on the last episode, but taking a binder to bind those toxins, because then they'll just like float around in your body and they can go into other places. They can go into your organs, they can go into your brain, right? So that's why it's really important that we take a binder, because we are releasing toxins as we're releasing our fat, because they're stored in the fat. And actually, one of the big things I see for people that have trouble with losing weight is that a very high toxic load, with pesticides and, all of these things, and maybe they eat a lot of processed foods. So that's one thing I wanted to say. And then the second thing I actually wanted to say is about protein. So when, I hear a lot of talk about, make sure you're eating enough protein, and people who are taking the peptides sometimes are losing their muscle, right? So it's really, really important that you are eating enough protein, right? And this is not like protein powder for like one meal or something, like, okay, but we're not eating protein powder all day long. Like that's not a good way to be getting our protein in. We need to be getting protein from whole food sources like eggs and meat and fish, right? And even like good quality dairy is a good source of protein and fat as well. So, the protein brand that I actually love is called Equip. Um, and it's made from beef isolate protein, so it's not like these ultra processed. And I love that it's made from beef, because the body utilizes it so amazing, because it is a beef. And they have an unflavored version. I like put it in my coffee in the morning, and it has like 30 grams of protein, and just in one scoop you add it to your coffee. There's a vanilla one, and it literally tastes like a latte, and it has protein and it has really clean ingredients.
It's
So
called
that's
Quip, Quip.
yeah, EQUIP.
Equip. Okay.
Yeah, I do have a coupon. I can always link it down if people are
Oh,
interested.
coupon. I love a coupon. Who doesn't love a coupon?
But yeah, it's so important that you're taking you're eating enough protein, as well as, I don't know if I mentioned about the Perfect Aminos supplement the last time, but there's something called Perfect Aminos. So it's basically amino acids, which are the building blocks of your, to make muscle for protein. So taking a serving of that, I believe it's like almost like eating 30 grams of protein. Also, if you do exercise, I take those when I'm exercise. I do a lot of weightlifting, and I take those for weightlifting, and it helps really to rebuild after exercise. It's an amazing, amazing supplement.
The container says 6 tablets provides 5 grams with utilization comparable to the dietary protein consumption of 28 grams of whey, soy, dairy, or nuts, 15 grams of meat, poultry, or fish, or 10 grams of eggs. So just 6 of these tablets is a lot of, you know what? I haven't even been counting them in my protein totals for my calories and whatnot. I need to add them.
I haven't been counting them either, but you know what? I have been taking them. I take one with a meal and one I do after I exercise at the gym. And I just had my 2-month assessment with my personal trainer, and you stand on a machine that tells not just what your weight loss is, but in 2 months, I gained 2 pounds of muscle.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, that's been very great. So I have also been upping my protein. I am have followed a paleo diet for many, many years. So always good with the animal protein. It's just what works best for my body. But I've had to up it. And I've had to even reduce some of the vegetables that I've been eating, because you can't eat, you don't, when you're on this drug, you only have so much room in your stomach. And I call it the valuable real estate. So I've been starting with protein and then adding in vegetables and fruits and stuff to complement it. And I was someone who didn't eat dairy for many years, and now I'm eating cottage cheese. And I found that it's been extremely effective in getting my protein, and I actually really enjoy it. So that's been really helpful on the path.
And I'm the opposite. I went whole food plant-based in 2018, right? And I didn't go whole food plant-based because of the animals or anything like that. I went whole food plant-based because I watched my father die with Alzheimer's, right? And I researched and like, I do not want to go like that. And they're calling it now diabetes type 3. That's the new name for Alzheimer's. It's so prevalent. And they said by 2050, 70% will have it, which is if it's type 3, then there's so much lifestyle there, right? And that what we're learning, and it starts 10 years prior to any symptoms, like almost any of our autoimmune diseases. It starts way before you get to the problem, right? So then I went whole food plant-based, but then again, when I'm in it, right, when I'm in the insanity, it's I would grab an ultra process and stuff that down, which certainly wasn't whole food plant-based or anything like that. So I wasn't that crazy, because I still, have that addiction, or I had the addiction. But so when I started the peptides, and I'm like, how are we going to do this protein? And I don't do tofu because my body doesn't respond well to it. Beans is good, but it was just like, what am I going to do for protein? So I started adding eggs, and I started doing seafood. I do wild caught salmon, and I do good shrimp. And I started the eggs, and then when I started the cottage cheese. Oh my God, I love cottage cheese. Cottage cheese. And like, I remember in the days back in Weight Watchers when I was 7, 8, 9, or whatever year, pick a year that I was on Weight Watchers, because, every 5 I was probably on it. And it's like, oh, we gotta sit here and eat cottage cheese. This is nasty. Or we mix the tuna with the cottage cheese because we didn't want the mayo, also nasty, right? And now I'm just like, oh, I get my cottage cheese. I'm so excited. Cottage cheese. So we really have to get on the stores to bring the organic, make it more available. But yeah, so it's interesting. So I don't feel bad. I'm interested. I talked to my doctor about this as well, because she knew I was whole food plant-based, and she knew my numbers were great going into this, which is why we knew insurance wouldn't cover this. So I'm interested to see where my cholesterol is now, what my numbers are, and compared to going from a whole food plant-based diet to a eating fish, eating meat, eating cheese, well, cottage cheese, eating dairy and whatnot. I'm interested to see the numbers. But also, though, 40 pounds that have been released from my body, how did that affect it, right? So we've got this and this. So I'm interested. I mean, it's like we're just on this research, right? We're just doing the research, right? And do it, just life is just research, right? We're just one step in front of the other. Sometimes we go back a little bit, we come back. But so yeah, so it's interesting. And I think another topic would be a good topic for us would be the weight resistance that we're doing. What are we doing to work out? Because I know I'm doing like water aerobics and stuff, but I've been talking to a personal trainer about starting. And she's like, oh, we can do a whole program. I'm like, no, I want to do resistance. That's all I want to do. I don't want to be jumping up and down. I've got a bad knee. I need a knee replacement. So, but I am doing, and this is hysterical. I have a vibration plate, and I do it every other day for 5 minutes. And you would think that someone is shooting me, like, and I'm like, oh, and I'm like on one. So I'm doing a video. So in a couple of months, we'll see how I progress on it. And then I just found out that the one that I'm doing is like, oh, that brand is useless. I'm like, useless? No, I'm feeling it. So we'll see what happens with the vibration plate. So these videos are not pretty. Trust me. They're funny though. So we'll see. That again, my research, but it's 5 minutes. Eventually I'll get to 10 minutes, but I really feel like I'm gonna die. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. But I don't die. I don't die. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. And back to the cholesterol thing as well. So there's a lot of research coming out about actually Alzheimer's and cholesterol, and people who take medication for lowering cholesterol and how that has a risk of Alzheimer's. So I mean, more and more research is coming out, but that total cholesterol maybe not even bad, or is not even the best measure for heart health or whatever they may say. Personally, as a nurse practitioner, I worked in the ER for many years, and we would have people coming in with heart attacks, and literally I feel like every person that had a heart attack was on a statin drug. So I don't necessarily know how, heart disease has a lot to do with blood sugar, right? So, that's that like stick. So when the blood sugar is high in the blood, it creates like a viscous, like a very stickiness. So that can lead to heart issues as well. So there's just so much research coming out now about
There is new stuff every day. It really is true, and it's good.
Yeah.
And I feel like people are stepping away from what we were taught by the medical profession. And it's interesting that no matter what hospital you go to in the United States, you're going to have exactly the same curriculum. Isn't that interesting? That they really have to follow the book. Like if you go to law school, different schools, you're going to learn different things and you're going to focus on different things. But if you go to medical school, you have the same curriculum. So what does that mean? Right? So are we not expanding our mind to maybe there's something different? Or no, like your doctor, they know this because that's what they were taught. But maybe there's a this and maybe there's a that, right? So, well, that's another thing, and that's another story. That's another.
Doctors are not educated on nutrition in medical school, just saying.
Exactly. They're not.
It's not even an aspect of what their training is. It's something like, I've heard everything from 12 hours to 2 weeks of medical school is spent on nutrition. It's the most minimal that they get.
Yeah, they don't focus on, they focus on the Band-Aid. Like, how do we fix this, right? They don't focus on, let's not get there. Because if we didn't get there, they wouldn't make any money, right? And all the hospitals are run by business people. They're not doctors. And oh, no, well, whatever. That's a whole, sorry, we got a little crazy. We went off the deep end.
And one last thing I'm just going to say on that is that they don't have the time to sit there and educate, because they have to have, I think, like 10-minute visits or even less. Yes. The insurance doesn't pay. So it's very, they don't have the time, right? It's like, get in, get out. Here's your prescription. Like, bye-bye, be on your way. But people are waking up to that, and they are taking their health into their own hands, which is amazing.
It really is. And this GLP-1 Support Squad is here to support you in all areas of your life, whether you're releasing weight or just getting healthier or just coming along for the ride. We're so glad you're here. Please put in the comments what you would like us to talk about in the future. If you have questions, how do I get in touch with Alyssa? How do I get in touch with Kris? We'll put all of that stuff in, but we want to know what you want to talk about, because we love this and we'd love to have some of you join us on some lives, any of that stuff. So this is fun for us, and it's very helpful for us. I know it's helpful for me, and Kris, I hope it's helpful for you. And Alyssa, my gosh, I mean, I feel like we should pay you, but we don't have any, but it's helpful for you too, I think, because you need to know about old people.
No, yeah. And it helps me, for my patients who are dealing with certain things.
Right.
And also just, if anyone is dealing with issues, they're taking these these peptides or GLP-1, make sure you share this to, you know, if you're in any Facebook groups or just you have friends, loved ones who are taking these and, you know, they're struggling with something specific, please share it. Make sure you like the video as well as subscribe to our channel and put on the notifications so that you get notifications when we post a new video.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great one. We'll see you in episode 4. Bye.